Autobots, transform! Jazz, organize a battle unit. We're going after them. Ready, Prime! Let's roll!
What's up, Transformers family? I hope you're having a great day. You are watching George Reviews. I am the 80s Transformer fan, and I have been counting down Hasbro's 1984 wave of Transformers, Autobots, and Decepticons from 1 to 25. I am on number 14, Autobot Jazz. And here's Autobot Jazz from 1984 in his packaging. As he turns around on the table, I want to tell you, before Jazz was a Hasbro product given to us in the United States of America, he came from a previous existing toy line called Diaclone. In that Diaclone, he was in a sub line called Car Robot. Jazz was not from Cybertron. Jazz was a mech battle suit worn by like a Power Ranger style figure that got inside of him and piloted. So Jazz was not a sentient being. That was the mythos that Hasbro gave us, and thank goodness we got that mythos, or we would all be watching GoBots here today. But anyway, so the figure that we know as Jazz got one repaint in the Diaclone line, and this one heck of a repaint. He was done in a completely back metal gold over the entire figure. It is awesome, and it is super rare, and it is a sight to behold. Check it out. It wasn't until later on, and I think it was the Headmaster Force, he actually received a repaint, but he was another character named Stepper, which he was white, gold, and black. Then Jazz returned in Generation 2. He was still white, but he got different stickers put on him. So anyway, let's take a look at Hasbro's 1984 Autobot Jazz. So here is his packaging. Obviously, this Jazz is still sealed in the bubble. Unfortunately, I guess sitting in daylight, I have some yellowing on my door and this little part right here where the sunlight has hit it. It made it start to turn yellow, but he is still sealed on the bubble. This is his vintage packaging. This isn't a KO knockoff reissue type thing. There's Jazz right there. The beautiful G1 artwork, the detailing, and his feet, his waist, his chest. You see the chrome gun. He just looks amazing. Face on artwork is amazing. Right here it has Hasbro, ages 5 and up. Includes snap-on weapons and accessories. Autobot Agent Jazz, which was so cool. Top of the box shows a little brief transformation. Side of the box, the figure in both modes. Same thing on the bottom of the box. Side of the box again. Turn it around to the back of the box, and you see the battle scene classic artwork. Now, Optimus Prime high as hell right there. I gotta remember to edit that out. So anyway, Hasbro created a tech spec and a character buyout for these figures because they wanted us to play, have an idea of the universe and play a certain way. When we played, you know, give them their own character. And on the back, it goes as follows, same artwork right here. He's an Autobot, name is Jazz. His function, Special Operations Agent, which is, I think he's the only guy to ever receive that, which was so cool. Special Operations Agent. And then his name was Jazz, which made it so great. His motto is do it with style or don't bother doing it. Jazz loves Earth culture, always looking to learn more. His knowledge of Earth makes him indispensable right-hand man to Optimus Prime. They kind of showed us that real quick in the cartoon and quickly got away from it. Takes most dangerous missions. Very cool, very stylish, very competent. Equipped with photon rifle flamethrower, full spectrum beam, 180 decibel stereo speaker, creates dazzling, disorienting sound, light show. Versatile, clever, daring, but prone to be distracted. They always throw a little something in there to make the guy not perfect. Now let's take a look at his technical readout. His strength is a 5. His intelligence is a 9. His speed is a 7. His endurance is a 7. His rank is an 8. His courage is a 9. His firepower is a 5. And his skill is a 10. kind of hope for better numbers for Jazz. Man, I love this dude as a kid. He didn't get a lot of run on a cartoon, but I definitely put him in my little toy fantasy storyline. I play with this guy all the time. And like I said with other sports cars that I reviewed from the Transformers 84 wave, and I'll say it again with this one. People like Jazz, Sunstreaker, Sideswipe, Mirage, or characters, didn't get a lot of love in the cartoon because their toys were selling. And the cartoon was a running toy commercial. When I bought this guy, it was sealed in the box. And actually, I wound up opening the box. I was going to open it to see if I could repair or replace the yellowing parts of my Jazz. So slide this guy off, and I'm not the original owner of this, but I bought it off a guy off eBay, and I got it for like $130, which was amazing. Here are his weapons, still sealed in the baggie. You can see the 3 missiles on a tree, his rocket launcher, his unused sticker sheet, his tech spec reader, a little red translucent card, his booklet, and I can tell by his booklet this is a 1985 release because he has the thicker 85 booklet in the background, and he has a catalog, and all this stuff is sealed. I've never opened it. It's still sealed. There's a little yellowing tape right there, and I'm going to slide out Jazz. And if you remember, there's a little cardboard insert that separated the accessories from the figure. That comes out, and then further inside is the cardboard supporting the figure. And don't worry, I have an open Jazz. You're going to see Jazz, because I'm not going to open this one. I changed my mind a while ago, and I'm not going to do it. You can see where the side facing the sunlight actually turned on me, and even the back spoiler. The back spoiler is not as bad, but that plastic is like different than some of the other plastic and the die cast, so it turned yellow. So this is Jazz in his bubble. And if you ever wondered, there's a KO of Jazz out there. Let me get that out of the way now. I usually say that for the end. But the KO, the factory didn't even bother to put the 4 and Martini on the door. So you immediately know. And I think the background cardboard is white. I believe it's white, not gray. All the 1984 guys' back cardboard is gray. So this is Jazz still sealed on his bubble. Okay, in front of us is my open Autobot Jazz that I'll be using for the remainder of this review. In his vehicle mode, obviously, Jazz is based on a Porsche 935. And he has the Martini advertising logo on him, on his doors. And you can see Martini Porsche on his spoiler in several locations. And the red, blue, and lighter blue racing stripes on the vehicle, just like the real racing car. Here is a pic of the actual racing car from back in the day, and then the Autobot logo added to the hood for good measure. Alright, we're going to get up close and personal with 1984 Jazz from Hasbro. Take a look at the figure. This figure has a lot of die cast in it. The entire front portion here is die cast, with the exception of the shoulder pieces in robot mode. This is plastic. The doors are plastic. His entire back end here is die cast. He has a lot of die cast compared to the other cars. The roof of the car is plastic. Obviously, it's a transparent plastic with a white overspray on it. So where we get the windows. And taking a further look at these rims. The rims on the real car were gold, but they just went with a chrome, which is cool. It has molded in spokes. Now, all the rims are the same. And this has the stickers already applied to it, obviously. Rubber tires, of course, which is always cool. Flip this guy over and check out his date stamping. This is what they call the Diaclone mold. It doesn't have Hasbro on it anyway. This is pre-rub. It says 1980 to 1982 Japan. Well, I skipped over the Takara Ltd 1980-1982 Japan. And this is the bottom of the vehicle. The hands tucked away under there. Little chrome feet, which is real cool. And in the Diaclone line, if you open this up, you can see this hollow space. Now, it looks like just a design and just a mold where they try to save plastic. But that right here is a seat. And you can take the Diaclone Pilot You know I was gonna do it. And get him in this seat. It's kind of tricky. You don't want to break the little roof. And sit him in that seat. Close it up, and there he is driving. Or if you got a third-party Spike like I do, you can put Spike in there. And one thing that bugged me in the 1984 Transformers cartoon, Jazz always played some corny recycled song from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends from the 70s. It sure would have been nice to hear him pump out some 1984 tunes. But let's take a look at some of the things that Jazz was packaged with. He came with his instruction booklet. Here it is right here. Nice colorful booklet. It is awesome. Awesome artwork. Unfolding the booklet, it reveals what the set includes. 3 missiles, a missile launcher, a chrome gun, a sticker sheet, and the figure itself. Jazz, the transformation pics, and instructions, and where to apply the stickers, and the how to read the tech spec. And this is, like I said, this is the pre-rub version. The rub version has the instructions right here to rub the little symbol up. And that is the booklet. Here is the spent vintage sticker sheet, the decoder, a mail order catalog for the figures you could order. Not this guy, but the Omnibots and the watch, the Time Warrior. And that is that. And he came with a catalog. And I have my own catalog I use for the countdown. And Jazz is number 14. We're going to get him checked off right now. Number 14 down. Next up is Sideswipe, if you're keeping track. And I do not have the weapons for this version other than the gun. I have the chrome gun, but I don't have the launchers and the missiles, so you're going to have to forgive me. We're going to have to go through this review without it. So to get Jazz transformed, open up the doors, slot the legs out, come to his hands underneath the hood of the car, unpeg those from each arm, slot the shoulders out, rotate the arms out, unhinge this little chrome part right here, and double hinge it right here. I don't have the arm clear. This arm always gives me trouble on this particular figure. But anyway, put this thing in place, slot the roof back, revealing the head, fold up the legs, and then the little feet become the shins, or whatever it is at the feet. Yeah, his feet were always kind of weird. Okay, then you rotate these arms around. Now, it's a debate with these arms. You rotate these arms around so you see the arrow facing down. Then you rotate the handhold to match. You do this on both sides. Man, this guy is stiff. Rotate the handhold to match. And these are how the arms are meant to sit out to the side. That's how it's done in the catalog and on the book. But okay, I'm going to take his gun, get his gun in his hand. Now, when you put his gun in his hand, and you raise his arm up, the back tire hits the back of the car. I mean, you can do it, but you're risking cracking and breaking the tire. You can get the arm up like this, which is cool. It looks cool. But what I would do as a kid, and I know a lot of people did different ways. So when I get the arm back down, you can rotate the arm. Like you can do it with the screw hole facing you, which doesn't look cool. Or you can rotate, I guess this is the shoulder. If I can get it to do it. It's real stiff. Rotate this down. That way he has an elbow bend, and rotate the gun hand up. And it gets a little bit more clearance. And now it's loose this way. I guess that's why it goes the other way. But it's a little bit loose this way, and you can get an elbow bend out of it. But an instruction is not meant to be transformed where you can actually get the elbow bend. But I think that looks better. He can kind of bow his arm to the side. The instruction way has his arm bowed like Popeye. But like I said, you can rotate the tire to the back and turn these hands this way and get a little bit more, I don't know, anatomically correct articulation out of it. I think it looks better that way, but I think that the tires are meant to sit up top. So that is it for Jazz's transformation. And this is what he looks like from Takara. On the cartoon, he was drawn without the doors. I think it was to differentiate him from Prowl and Blue Streak a little bit more. So as a kid, I would sometimes fold the doors back just like this, and they were out of the way, and it cleans up pretty good. And even you can even slide these doors off. It takes a little bit of doing. Like as a kid, mine were loose, and I would just slide them off. I'm gonna slide the doors off of this one. And if I had the launcher would mount back here in these holes and sit over Jazz's right shoulder. But I don't have it. It only went one way. I mean, I do have it. I have it in the packaging, but I don't have it for this particular figure. I don't know why I don't have it for this figure. I thought I had it, but apparently I don't. But anyway, back to the cartoon accuracy. And in this mode, I guess we pretty much went over all the articulation with his arms and shoulder. He has shoulder rotation here and up here. Is this the shoulder or is this the shoulder? I think this is supposed to be stationary, and we get all articulation out of here. But he has an elbow bend and his hand swivels 360. And we are completely done. I mean, that is it. The head doesn't rotate. Let's take a look at that head and that face. Looks just like the cartoon, or the cartoon looks just like the toy. It's one of the few figures that they actually chose to draw exactly the same. It doesn't have a blue visor, but that was the cartoon choice. But his head is shaped exactly the same. The visor, the face is exactly the same. His waist, he has a well-defined chest area and waist area, looks good. Legs look good, but his feet kind of look suspect. Yeah, and his legs are connected with the pin, which I always hated that. Even though they have articulation, I wanted to have that separation in there. Did that bother anybody else? And spin him around to the side. You can see the spoiler sticking off his legs. Doors back there, windshield back there. Standard stuff. Jazz looks great. And Jazz was voiced by the late, great Scatman Carruthers, who did a lot of work on a lot of cartoons and a lot of movies. Really loved that guy as a kid. I think it was like the perfect 80s choice to be Jazz. He didn't have enough lines, in my opinion. Wanted to hear that little raspy voice a little bit more. Oh, and the weapon I do have is the chrome gun. It's highly detailed. And speaking of his gun, Jazz has several reissues. The first reissue I believe he got was the book style reissue that came in a white box from Takara. Then he got an encore reissue. In the United States, they did a sort of a book style thing that was available at Toys R Us. And that Toys R Us United States reissue really sucked. The plastic and the material was just cheap. All the Toys R Us reissues were cheap. I think the best one we got was Ultra Magnus. Anyway, he had the elongated missiles, and his gun and his missiles were not chromed out in the United States. So hopefully if he shows up at Walmart, we'll get the chrome back in a better quality figure. And then he also had the Diaclone Gold figure reissued. This very rare, and almost as rare as the Diaclone. And I kind of passed it up at that time when they released the gold one. I thought it had to do with the Golden Lagoon, but it was actually a tribute to the vintage Diaclone version. I did not know about it at the time, or else I would have grabbed it. Now the price is like up there where it's not really worth it to me. I'd rather have the actual Diaclone version. But other than that, I got some buying tips for you. If you are in the market for Jazz, make sure he has the launcher and the 3 missiles, the gun. You want to check the gun and all the chrome pieces. You want to check out chromeware. Get a good look at that. Stickerware, he has a ton of stickers. Stickerware, and then he has a lot of die cast. You want to make sure he's not chipped on your die cast pieces, or as few chips as possible. And I showed you the vintage one with the yellowing plastic. You want to look out for that. Ouch. Yellowing plastic. Sucks right there. And also with rubber tires, the rubber tires are prone to cracking and breaking, and sometimes they stick on there, and if you ever try to get them off, they'll crack or split taking them off. You want to watch out for rust on the little metal pins that hold the tires in. This one's in pretty good condition, considering this like one of the very first ones to come over to the United States. And also, forgot, he's prone to breaking. The windshield connected to the back of his head. You have to be very careful with that. Make sure it's slotted properly when you're transforming it. All right, let's give Jazz the size up and a rundown. Here he is next to the only other Jazz I own from Powers of the Prime. I think it's Powers of the Prime. One of those series, the much hated Powers of the Prime Jazz. Here he is next to a Decepticon Seeker Skywarp. Here he is next to a Cliff Jumper. This is how he scales with Hound, Optimus Prime, and Rodimus Prime, because he actually made it through the Transformers Gauntlet, which was Transformers the movie, and survived to the end and rolled out with Rodimus. And last but not least, I want to tell you my Transformers story about Jazz when I was a kid. When I first saw Transformers in the store, when I was going every weekend waiting for them to be released, and I first saw Transformers in the store, I saw Jazz at JCPenney's. I went in hoping to find what was Optimus Prime. I looked for that box, and when I'm coming down the escalator at JCPenney's, I can see the end cap, and I see Transformers, and I'm like, yes! And I run over there, there's nothing but the Autobot cars. There are no Minibots, there are no Decepticons, there's no Optimus Prime. And then the Autobot cars, they didn't have them all. They had Jazz, they had Prowl, they had Blue Streak, Trailbreaker, and Wheeljack. And those were my choices to get a Transformer. And I wound up choosing Jazz second. I got Jazz like the next week. You know, I had like toy credit with my mom. I only get one toy a week. So Jazz was actually my second Transformer ever. Yeah, as a kid, loved this figure. I had him Optimus Prime right hand man. The cartoon kind of steered away from that. Like he was supposed to, like Jazz was supposed to be like second in command. Where the let me get this box back out. What do we have his rank at? On the box, his rank is an 8. And a lot of people thought because they had Ironhide all bossy in the cartoon. A lot of people felt because Ironhide was very bossy in the cartoon that Ironhide was like second in command. But on Earth, it was Jazz. Jazz was second in command of the Autobots. And they never really did that ranking system for the Autobots like the Decepticons. Well, Decepticons is debatable too. I'll get to that when I get to the Decepticons. Well, alright, that's my story for Hasbro's 1984 Jazz. What is yours? Tell me in the comments below, because you just watched a review where every toy has a story.
Autobots, transform!